Did you notice anything unusual?
There are some truly terrible horror movies out there, we know that, I discuss it frequently on this channel. However, there are some terrible horror movies that genuinely had great concepts, but they dropped the ball in their execution. This is the top 5 terrible horror movies with great concepts. In at number 5 we have The Babysitter. Now this movie was fun, but definitely not as good as it had the potential to be, that's for sure. Released in 2017 and directed by McPhee, the guy behind Charlie's Angels and Terminator Salvation, yeah, the movie where Christian Bale had a full-on meltdown. The Babysitter follows Cole, a boy who, after staying up past his bedtime, discovers that his babysitter belongs to a satanic cult that will stop at nothing to keep him quiet. Starring the likes of Samara Weaving, Judah Lewis, and Bella Thorne, this movie was received well by critics, but not so much by the general public. Well, at least not by me, and I am the general public. The Babysitter could have been a smart slasher where the teens aren't the victims, but instead they are the villains. However, that's not what we got in The Babysitter. Instead it fell flat, with it being neither funny nor scary. Literally the two things it tried to tell us it was going to be. But they're liars, everyone's a liar. Plus there is far too much explanation throughout, just get to the point. Plus Bella Thorne, not a fan, sorry. Like I said though, critics did praise the movie enough for it to receive a sequel. Cinema crazed call it, I quote, a great horror comedy with a genuinely touching tale of growing up tucked underneath the buckets of blood and Satanism. But I think I've gotten across to you guys at this point that I disagree. I believe it had so much potential to be something very different to what we have seen before in the horror genre, but it dropped the ball big time. I will not return and I will not watch the sequel. Before we jump into number 4, make sure you guys smash that like button, really helps us out a lot. In at number 4 we have Alien vs Predator. Now I think this movie is a joke, but some folks genuinely love it, and honestly, respect, because I genuinely like Freddy vs Jason in the worst way possible. Released in 2004 and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, Alien vs Predator is the first installment in the Alien vs Predator franchise. There is a whole franchise surrounding these two, and adapts a crossover between the creatures, Alien and Predator. Now these are two of the most feared creatures in horror movie history, so combining the two should technically make a super beast of horror, right? Well, wrong. First and foremost, the movie follows scientists who are caught in the crossfires of an ancient battle between aliens and predators as they attempt to escape a bygone pyramid. Cool, sounds fun, however it's not, and the movie is bland and actually pretty boring. Not to mention the movie focuses on secondary characters instead of the two monsters mentioned in the title. On top of that, it received a PG-13 rating, limiting its potential. At this point we shouldn't be surprised though, the movie was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who was responsible for Resident Evil. Even though it's a guilty pleasure for me and I have all of them on Blu-ray, I know they're not good. They're fun, which is more than I can say for Alien vs Predator, but not good. The movie was met with negativity, as you would expect, with one critic describing it as, I quote, gore without scares and cardboard cutout characters make this clash of the monsters a dull sit. And honestly, preach, I would have more fun watching paint dry. Yeah, I said it. In at number 3 we have The Midnight Meat Train, a horror movie starring Bradley Cooper and Vinnie Jones. Might sound really weird, and that's because it is. It's really weird. Released in 2008, Midnight Meat Train is based on Clive Barker's 1984 short story of the same name, and follows a photographer played by Bradley Cooper, who attempts to hunt down a serial killer known as the Subway Butcher. However, on his mission he discovers far more than he expected under the city streets. Now, the movie itself, unlike the novel, appears to be a subpar slasher movie that follows Bradley Cooper as he tracks the many murders of the aforementioned serial killer. However, the plot twist is what essentially destroys this movie's great concept. Spoilers ahead for those who haven't watched Midnight Meat Train, but it turns out Vinnie Jones is essentially killing people as sacrifices for a race of eldritch reptilian monsters which are said to reside beneath the city. However, this is revealed right at the end of the movie, meaning we never really get to see these creatures or have the story play out in any way. However, many people do disagree with me when it comes to this movie, with a lot of folks truly loving it, but not me. Sorry, don't yell. Cinematical called it easily the best Clive Barker adaptation since the first Hellraiser film. Honestly, that shook me to my core. I disagree, but horror is subjective and we're not always going to agree on the same things. that's for sure. No one ever agrees with me. In at number 2 we have Brightburn. Now this movie takes on Superman's origin story but in the form of a horror, which is incredibly ambitious. Released in 2019 and directed by David Yarovesky and produced by James Gunn, Brightburn stars Elizabeth Banks, David Denman, and Meredith Hagner. The movie itself tells the story of Brandon Breyer, a young boy of extraterrestrial origin who realizes he has superpowers. He soon rejects his humanity and turns to the side of evil, in turn terrorizing his hometown as well as his parents. Now the concept is fantastic. Who doesn't want a horror take on Superman? And the evil deeds he commits in his small town. It's everything we want, however the execution fell short. The characters felt underdeveloped and the movie just moved way too fast, not really allowing you any moment to breathe or take in exactly what is happening. Not to mention, without giving the entire story away, the reason as to why he turns evil is weak and somewhat of a cliche. I also can't really tell if I like Elizabeth Banks these days. I'm torn on her. Critics were torn over the movie, with some loving it and others absolutely despising it. One critic stated, I quote, "Although Brightburn doesn't fully deliver on the pitch black promise of its setup, it's still enough to offer a diverting subversion of the superhero genre." Lindsay Bayer wasn't so kind with the words though and stated, "Brightburn was a good idea. Unfortunately, the creativity stops there. Savage, but preach." Now this one hurts simply because of the involvement of James Gunn. I truly love him and most of his work. I mean, he's the man behind Slither. That movie was absolutely incredible, no matter what anyone says. As you can tell, the concept of Brightburn was excellent. It has so much potential, more so than any movie on this list, but it really dropped the ball in a big way.
I will never turn against our son.
He's not my son!
Finally, coming in at number 1 we have Horns. Now this movie truly could have been excellent, however it sadly dropped the ball, as I keep saying throughout this whole list, but regardless I do have a soft spot for it. Released in 2013 and directed by Alexandre Aja, aka the man behind The Hills of Eyes, Crawl and Mirrors, Horns stars Daniel Radcliffe, a man falsely accused of attacking and killing his girlfriend played by Juno Temple. He then begins to use his newfound paranormal abilities to hunt down the real killer. A part of these abilities include horns growing out the top of his head, which allow him to make people reveal their secret and dark desires. So as you would expect, he discovers a lot of secrets along the way, while trying to uncover his girlfriend's murder. The movie itself is based on the novel by Joe Hill, which was a fan favourite among horror lovers. It was suspenseful, gothic and filled to the brim with dark humour, however, sadly the movie didn't deliver like the book did, with it, yes, including a stellar cast, however, the humour falls flat and the suspense is few and far between. Not to mention, it is predictable from the very beginning, with each twist and turn feeling very cheap. Not even Harry Potter himself could save this movie. One critic stated, Horns is a bit of a jumble but offers enough thoughtful horror comedy and strong work from Daniel Radcliffe to hook genre enthusiasts. And while yes it does hook, there is no reward at the end of the movie for sticking around. Now although it isn't the greatest film out there, the concept is truly really interesting, which makes it incredibly disappointing that the movie didn't pay off. Honestly, if you want to learn more about Horns, I would just check out the novel by Joe Hill. It's definitely worth your time. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any terrible movies with great concepts that we missed? Leave us your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos, top 5 worst horror movies of the decade. Christopher Mendez said, the holiday season is officially here because the Dark Queen has brought the turtlenecks back. I don't think the turtlenecks ever really left. Even in the summer, turtlenecks were going strong. They're not here today, but maybe tomorrow the turtleneck will be back. But it won't be tomorrow for you because I'm in like 1 video a week, so sucks. Lynn Durbin said, what the hell, why would anyone go on about Lucy's weight? She is an awesome host and perfectly proportioned. She is the best host on this channel. I like this comment just because it says I'm perfectly proportioned, which is a really weird comment. Perfectly proportioned. I think I'm pretty proportioned. Also, I'm responding because I'm on a health kick right now. I'm really into fitness, guys. Not because of your comments, just because of me. Also, I know I'm the best host on the channel. Preach. Largo778 said, we need more Lucy on the channel, there is not enough of the Dark Queen in the world. Well, I wish I could be on it like I used to, which was every single day, but I'm busy. I'm on another channel as well, Top 10 Central Dark, go check it out, plug, plug, plug. And also, I'm busy doing other things and telling people what to do. Right, Chris? No, I don't tell Chris what to do. He's his own man. Michael Sansevero said, there are many worst movie videos out there and even some on here that I don't agree with. The Dark Queen nailed this one though. All hail and respect Lucy. Thank you, I'm glad you agree with me. I like to agree with me. I like when everyone agrees with me, because it means I'm right. Raymond Walker said, you look fine, Lucy. Anyway, I was wondering if you can do a top 5 list of full moon feature movies. Don't know why I yelled it in such a way, but you look fine, Lucy. I don't know how you're saying it. You look fine, Lucy. But you look fine, Lucy. You look fine. It could be an insult, or it could be like, you look fine. Or it could be, you look fine. I need clarification. Full moon feature movies? Potentially. I'll think about it. Okay, I'll pass the message along to someone else and they'll think about it. Sebastian Love said, I'm scared to know what happened to her boyfriend. Oh yeah, I didn't understand the comment at first. Actually, do I? Because I don't remember mentioning my ex-boyfriend on this channel. I did in Central Dark, but I must have mentioned it on this channel as well. And I can't remember in what context. Oh, I think I'd mentioned Eraserhead again on this channel or something. And I said the boyfriend clearly wasn't around anymore. Anyway, he's fine. He's living his best life somewhere. I know where he is, I just won't tell because then he'll know I'm talking about him. But I say that like he watches my videos, he doesn't. I know for a fact. He's like, bye Lucy, that's what he said. Bye Lucy, and we don't communicate anymore. Sometimes we communicate. Not really anymore. His name's Matt. Go find him. Oh, sorry Matt. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary bit. And until next time, see you later.